Hi everyone, welcome to my video. So as you can see, I'm going to be talking about the Queen Pin or Jamaica Thompson. So let's get started. She was one of the richest and most feared drug lords of LA who rose to the top during the 1980s crack epidemic in the United States, who then became an evangelical minister. To start, her family got evicted when she was just 8 years old, and that's when she realized that she wanted control and money. In high school, she was a track star and was dating this guy named Anthony Daff Mosley. He was best known around the hood for selling weed and throwing dice. She had dreams of being in the 1984 Olympics, but she started selling weed in her high school. Then her retailer showed her the cocaine business. He showed her how to weigh it, package it. She took her idea to her boyfriend Daff, but he said no. So she decided to do it all on her own. While she was selling cocaine, somebody came up to her and asked her if she had any crack. And she didn't even know what it was at the time. But when she found out what it was, how to make it, and started selling it, her business exploded. She never really sold the crack. She just called all the shots. The cops even knew that any crack that was going around at the time came from her because she didn't have any competition. People would commit homicides, they would overdose, they would be getting ran over, all because they were high. And she was the one providing them with the crack. And she was feared by almost everyone. In 1980, she got married to Daff. And in 1982, they started living lavish, which brought attention to the feds. They had informants out on them who told the feds that Jamaica and Daff were cocaine traffickers. She wasn't even worried though. She was too busy trying to raise her new baby and growing her business. She didn't even realize that they were after her, and by this time she was only 20 years old. So one day, Daff was gambling, shooting dice behind a car wash, when all of a sudden somebody came up behind him, shot him, and killed him. But that didn't stop Jamaica. In 1984, she decided to go harder. She went from selling drugs in LA to selling around the world. She went from city to city, meeting rich people who would ask her if she knew anybody who would sell them cocaine. Because of that, she became big enough that somebody actually agreed to introduce her to the direct supplier of Colombia, and she started getting her cocaine from the source. By the 1990s, she was one of the richest, most powerful drug lords in the United States. At 26 years old, she flew to Italy, where she laundered her money in a hair business, and she actually started to sell her hair to celebrities. And all the rich people would buy her hair. You know, if you had money, you had her hair. And her hair business was actually doing just as good as her drug business. But she craved that adrenaline and that thrill that her drug business gave her that her hair business wouldn't. So she went back to selling cocaine. She met another man. He was a musician and also a coke dealer. His name was Percy Brighton, and he was also known as Cheese. Cheese became Jamaica's Illinois distributor, and they also started dating. Cheese messed up though, because he unknowingly sold to a DEA informant, and the informant even met Jamaica. So the police pretty much started a hunt for her. But they could never find enough evidence to actually arrest her. She monitored her distributors very closely and nobody would snitch on her. The police thought that they would finally catch her after they arrested one of her distributors because he pulled out a gun on a car while in traffic. The car that got the gun pulled out on them called the cops, so he was followed and arrested. They found 30 kilos of cocaine in the car, the gun, and he was also a felon. But he kept quiet. He would rather do 20 to 30 years in prison than to snitch on Jamaica. Then finally, Cheese, her Illinois distributor, asked for immunity to testify against Jamaica after one of his people got arrested and snitched him out. Even then, the cops struggled to catch Jamaica. She pretty much went into hiding. She would change her name and wear wigs to disguise herself. She would party in different cities. She was never really at one place at a time, and she did this for months. The police went into her hair salon to try and find anything that could give them clues or incriminate her, but all they found was a certificate of recognition from her son's school. So they set up an arrest on her son's graduation. When she showed up to the graduation, she was arrested in front of her son, in front of the other kids, in front of the parents, in front of everybody. The cops didn't even care to wait until the graduation was over. They just, when they saw her, they went up to her, told her don't make a scene, and then took her out in handcuffs. They took her to Illinois, where she was indicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison. She was released in 2005 after serving 13 years, and then she became an evangelical minister. Alright guys, well, that's all I have for today. This is the final look. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and especially if you can, please vote. We cannot make the same mistake that we made 4 years ago. Well, not me, because I couldn't even vote back then yet. But please, not voting is a vote for you know who, and we cannot repeat that again. I just can't take it anymore. I'm fed up. So please, if you can, guys, vote blue, please. Anything else and not voting is a vote for the clown. But thank you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.